Oh, how are you guys? We're about to get organised. Just sorting stuff out. I'll give you a quick walk around with some banners. Obviously, you know why we're here today. Hopefully, David's appeal can go through. Look who we've got here. The fire truck's in today. Got all the usual suspects that are always here for the whistleblowers. Some great people always standing up for what is right. I'll find a good spot for you to sit here in a minute. How are you, Ara? Morning, Melissa.
And that was interesting enough. One of the benefits of the crime really to not focus in the crime. Yeah, the prisoners were full of confidence. The police was really very strict. You simply, there was no space.
Morning, Veronica. How are we going? Still got the screen problem, but I can just read some of the comments on the bottom here.
My impression was the regime was over. And I was 30 years ago, I was
Awesome, Ara. Was there a big turnout for that? We just need the rest of the world to stand up and come together.
I joined the group only recently.
So who's in court today, you asked Veronica? As the signs are showing, Dave McBride. Well, he won't be in court, obviously. His representation will be here today. They're hoping to get an appeal against his sentence. Let's see how his legal representation can deal with this. Usually you've got a limit of 28 days after sentencing to lodge your appeal. So I don't know what's planned for today, but as always, we will support whistleblowers, because without whistleblowers, the truth can't come out. How are you, Pinster?
Hi, I think I met you last time.
How you doing? I'm Corey.
Corey, Jane.
Jane, lovely to see you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Do you know Rain?
Yes.
Awesome. Maybe we can use some of your footage. That means we don't have to double dutch. I think it's important to network.
I can share this. I'll share this link to Rain if
Yeah.
you need to. I'll do
That would
I'll do
be-
it right now.
Thank you. That'd be amazing.
No problems at all.
Because then we can pop it on the Truth Not War site as well.
Yep. Beautiful.
Thanks, Corey.
Oh, very welcome. Thank you.
We don't need 10 of us here recording, do we? We just need to coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Imagine that. Working together.
That's exactly what we all need to do. We all need to come together, work together to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Great signs everywhere.
Yeah. Craig does a great job.
Oh, is this Craig's doing, is it?
Yeah, well, Craig and Claire, they organise all the AAP stuff. So Craig's local in town, and they organise all the whistleblower rallies here in town.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a great job.
I like your jumper.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Yeah, everything needs to be exposed.
Do you think it is being exposed with this, like, with the Diddy parties and all that? Or do you think, I think it's, what do you think?
A lot of it's distraction, and a lot of people in Australia are more worried about what's going on in Hollywood. And like the problem is, if you look back at the 80s, we had so many people come out and talk about what was going on in the Hollywood scene.
Even
music,
even
movie
victims,
industries,
yeah.
all these victims, like Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, like all these people came out back then talking about this stuff, and it was all ignored. A lot of people tried to bring it to light, it's all ignored, but suddenly now we're talking about this. Yes, it all needs to come out. All these stories need to come out. The corruption, where it links to our judiciary, where it links to our parliaments, our governments, people that control us, it's all linked together.
Yeah.
It's part of where the corruption and cover-ups come from, because I've got a secret on you.
That's right.
You're not going to talk about anything I don't want you to talk about,
Yeah,
because
that's
I'll
right.
tell your secrets.
And that means I'll get to lobby the shit out of you as well.
So they're all controlled. So sometimes our price isn't money, it's blackmail and control. And that's what the Epstein stuff was about,
Yeah.
with the Diddy stuff. It's a worldwide problem.
Yeah.
And we all need to come together, because all the problems we look at comes back to the same sort of
It really
scenario.
does. The same structure, the same system.
Exactly. So we all just need to, all our little groups that we stand up against, this bit or this bit or this bit, we all stand together, we can solve the problems where the problems
Yeah,
start.
where the,
And until
At the root
until
of
all the
it.
people can do that, we're going to be stuck under some sort of slave control system of a government of some description. Not that I'm saying it's government's all bad, but the way the system works, it's corrupt and screwed, and it's not here for any people. It's here to screw us every day.
Absolutely. It's like the sociopaths and the psychopaths have gotten hold of it.
Exactly. That's who controls it all. And yes, slave master, I'll do whatever you want. Oh,
Yeah.
you're screwing me more. Oh, well, that's all right. I won't vote you in next time. I'll vote for the next slave master next time, and he can screw me differently. There's no lube.
It's a dirty business, isn't it?
It sure is. It sure is.
It's really sad, unfortunately.
I sure do. But just security will screw you if you don't step outside the bollards. Just to remind you. I've also sent you the link of today's live stream.
I just spoke to Corey about, so I don't have to
if
film
you need
it.
to share it somewhere.
So we don't need.
I'll send you your messages.
Yeah. So for. Oh, good. She's happy. Rain's gonna do more than me. So if I just make sure she gets the stuff. I think we need like a little pole or something in the middle.
Oh, they'll just pull it tighter when it's
I
time
hope
to start
so.
talking.
I hope so. It's so important to have like a really clear banner. That's one of the things I've really noticed with looking at images. Or I'll stand in the middle with one of these, hiding my face. Yeah, coffee. You're gonna have some of my coffee, are you?
Oh, you've passed
That's the
midnight,
yummy
Nobby.
bit at the end.
Hope you get a nice warm weather over there. You're coming towards summer. I hope you get time spent on the beach this year, Ian.
Do you like coffee?
It's alright. Sorry, I shouldn't touch the journal there.
Ah, it's alright, I'm getting better.
What is it, you?
Yes, me.
Are you still
Yeah, I agree with you completely, Ara. It is a distraction, but at least it wakes people up. Like right now, people still aren't concerned about their own backyards, but it is getting people looking into what is going on around the world. Yeah, well, the problem is, as we know, look at the legislation. They're the ones that are exempt from it. So the government and the media don't have to worry about misinformation. They can say what they please whenever. Oh, we may have been wrong, but it doesn't really matter. We are your only source of truth. And once the disinformation bill comes into play, you won't be able to argue it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a beautiful, cool, sunny morning in Canberra. I sincerely had hoped we wouldn't have to be here for this last year, but things haven't gone the way we had anticipated. And as you know, in May this year, David McBride was sentenced to 5 years and 8 months imprisonment at the Andrew McConaughey Centre down here in Canberra. So, while it's in my mind, hearing is in Court 1, SC1, on the ground floor going to your right. So before we start the formal chats this morning, we want to see nice happy faces and nice discreet thumbs ups for David to show him that we're out there. Happy vibes. No angry stuff and no yelling at judges, because this is a rubber stamp event today, just to get leave to appeal the sentence. Okay, so the legal team is requesting leave so they can appeal the sentence. It's a little bit messy because the lodgement went in late due to delays on the court side, due to a change in the legal team, and due to certain permissions that had to be granted to the legal team to investigate certain documents. So if you're a betting person, probably bet that it's going to get approved so he can appeal. All right, so thank you all for coming. To start us off, I'm going to invite Emma Davidson, our local Greens member, who's having a little not member moment till the election is next weekend. Emma's been a great supporter of David and for justice and for liberty, and she's always been there to help out and voice our voices for us when she's in her role as a federal politician, a local politician for the ACT. And Emma will also acknowledge country for us. So welcome, Emma Davison. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you. I'm going to start by saying Dawaranena, Dawaranenawal, Yangu Nalawiri, Dunimanyan, Nunawawari, Dawarawari, Ningara Dindi, Wangarili Jinyan. Now, if I can get someone to hold this for me so I can say that again in Auslan and in English. What I've just said is that this is Ngunnawal country, and today we are gathering on Ngunnawal country. We always pay respects to elders, female and male. And I thank the Ngunnawal people for allowing me to learn a few words of their language. To continue in Auslan and English, I know that there are many people and families with a connection to the lands of Canberra and the region. And this always was and always will be Aboriginal land where sovereignty was never ceded. This is why truth, treaty and an Indigenous voice to Parliament are important, and that work will continue. So I pay my respects to elders past, present and future, and I also acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are here with us today. Thank you. It is really important that when we're having conversations about who we are as a nation, who we are as a society and what's important to us, that we're bringing everyone in, that everyone needs to be able to participate in the conversation about what's important to us as a society and what our values are and what makes us who we are as a community. Now, what's going on in here today is largely an administrative process, but it's a really important part of the process. Now, it is not in the public interest for this to be dragged out. We want this to run smoothly. We want justice to be able to occur and for him to be able to continue with the process. So that's what's happening today, is the start of all of that. Now, one of the things that we saw in the report that came down from the Royal Commission into Defence and Veteran Suicide was some talk about the impact of moral injury. And every time we drag out processes like this, where we're actually talking about what's been happening and things take far too long and are far too difficult, it actually increases the level of mental distress for veterans and their families out there in the community. So as the Mental Health Minister, as the Veterans Minister, as the Corrections Minister, it's really important to me to see that justice is done properly, that people are able to go through those processes smoothly and not have them dragged out and take too long, because it is in the public interest for these things to not take all of that time. So I thank you all for coming here today, for continuing to show your support, not just for David, but also for his family. But remember that this is a person who has family and friends who love him and care about him and are really looking forward to seeing him again. And we want to make sure that that is something that can possibly happen at some point in the future. So in order for that to happen, We need this to happen today. But thank you all for coming and continuing to show your support.
Thank you, Emma. As you know, you all know this. I've just got a little interesting short thing to read. Some of you may recognise this. The Public Interest Disclosure Act 2013, commonly known as the PID Act. It promotes integrity and accountability in the Commonwealth public sector. The PID Act encourages employees, former employees and others prescribed in the PID Act Excuse my props here. PID Act provides protections for people who make a disclosure and requires agencies to take appropriate action. And that's it, that's the PID Act. Now, I see a bit of discord there with what's happened to David and what David did. Hence, we're here to protect David and to campaign for the Attorney General to fix the Whistleblower Act, which he hasn't done, which Labor promised to do if they were elected. So it's been a very disappointing episode for whistleblowers with this new government, which has not done what they've said to. So I'll now ask Kathy Vogan to come up. Kathy's a very seasoned reporter, journalist from Consortium News based in Washington and Sydney. So we're going to continue filming. Kathy, I'll hand over to her. She's been a great supporter of our whistleblowers and of course freedom of speech and other things. So if you're not on Consortium News, I suggest you log in and check them out. They have some great journalistic work reporting on items around the world. She's just getting a little ready to go.
Yeah. If you could hold that microphone close. Folks, I usually improvise, but I've been reporting on the case and I need to just deliver you some information, be objective. I've also been reporting on the Assange case in London and reporting on the Assange case for 14 years, basically. In the course of those two cases, I've looked into British, American, Australian, Swedish, and what else? Other law. Other law in relation to press freedom and national security. And so I thought I could offer you an international perspective. And so I actually wrote this down. As I say, I usually improvise, but I don't want to get carried away. So here we go. I want to talk to you about what just recently happened in Strasbourg for our good friend Julian Assange. That's how we're going to start. In addition to, no, you hold it. In addition to declaring Julian Assange a political prisoner, the Council of Europe has just urged the United States, an observer state in the Council of Europe, to, quote, urgently reform the 1917 Espionage Act to exclude its application to publishers, journalists, and whistleblowers who disclose classified information with the intent to raise public awareness about serious crimes. These are the views of 120 members of parliament in governments all around Europe, from all across the political spectrum. But amendments along the same line as proposed by the Council of Europe have already been drafted and proposed within the United States by Representative Rashida Tlaib of Michigan. They seek to heal the same malaise of punishing the wrong people. Don't shoot the messenger was the popular refrain and has been for 14 years in the case of Assange and also in the case of McBride. One can apply that. It is unlawful, for sure, both in the United States and in Australia. David McBride assures me he has the legal qualification to do that, to classify evidence of crime. But it is also forbidden to reveal unlawfully classified information. How contradictory is that? So the worst kind of misinformation gets to abound. The big lies by omission. As Harold Pinter observed, even while it was happening, it never happened. This is something we are experiencing every day, where state narratives contradict what we see with our own eyes. And when we self-censor for fear of being disappeared, European parliamentarians have also called for an umbrella of protection for whistleblowers and journalists threatened from abroad by lawfare or worse for raising public awareness of serious crimes that have been ordered unspeakable. This is consistent with Article 10 of the European Convention on Human Rights, the freedom of expression right. And wouldn't we like a few of those here in Australia? We need a Bill of Rights, of course we do. We're a balancing act. In Europe, Article 10, in the European Court of Human Rights, a balancing act must be done between the alleged violation of national security and the public's need to know this information. As the late and great John Pilger once said, when secrecy is combined with impunity, bad things happen. We know that from the revelations of WikiLeaks, but we remain very contradictory in Australia. The Commonwealth Direction of Public Prosecutions advises that it is not in the public interest to prosecute a journalist for revealing serious crime, but the whistleblower who enables that work has no right to a public interest defence. The Afghanistan Inquiry, better known as the Brereton Report, the Afghanistan Inquiry Implementation Oversight Panel report, held for release by our Attorney General until the very day of David McBride's sentencing, had nothing to say about the treatment of whistleblowers. It rather looked at ways of eliminating lofty ambitions, one might say, eliminating the possibility of serious crime altogether by our military. Its chapter on ethics suggested that a prior decision-making process of triangulation be replaced by a theory of natural law, where war crime is always the wrong outcome. The panel highlighted negligence at the level of senior command in failing to recognise, quote, multiple signs that atrocities were being committed and failing to act in a way that would have ended this behaviour much sooner. But do we have a remedy yet for protecting those who simply set the record straight? I don't think so. That is a conversation we need to have. Chelsea Manning suggested that misinformation could be our greatest problem for the next 2 decades. I think we sunk into that darkness decades ago. But a light has shone in Europe, a light that beams out the message, let us not call it a serious crime to tell the truth. Read the room, Australia.
Right, folks, we're sort of running out of time here. If you feel like going in to grab a seat, please do so. I'm going to call Graham up to say a few brief words. Graham's a long-distance activist in the peace, truth and anti-war movements around the world. Again, nice bright faces when you do go in. If you go in to see David, keep it positive and give him a thumbs up. All right, over to Graham.
I don't need a mic. I need... Oh, I switched it off. I'd rather not use a mic. I'd rather be part of the people, speaking to the people. G'day. I want to reinforce what Kathy has said. It is appalling what has happened to our military. Given all the resources, given all those guns and weapons, what have they allowed us to do? We are an invaded country. When Obama came to the parliament, he departed and went north to Darwin with Julia Gillard following. They signed a status of forces agreement and immediately made it secret. The status of forces agreement is what power the hosting country has over the visiting military. Why do they want to keep this secret? We'd be eager to know that if a woman was raped by a Marine in Darwin, you want to know what law they face. They didn't want us to know because the fact was there was no liability. What the Americans do when they come in, the American military, they whip them out of the country as fast as possible. There is no justice to be expected for the victims of the crimes of military personnel in Australia. Understand, this is what this Labor government has delivered to us, an occupied country. How base can a military be when it actually invites in an army to occupy? That's what we have been delivered. So these generals who want to punish David McBride, who want to keep their medals despite their war crimes, they are base. Base. Absolutely depraved military personnel. So where will justice come from? Just us, folks. When it comes to a crisis, it's just citizens like us assembling in public place, uniting and getting our message across that does it. I'm a bit like Craig. I wish I didn't have to do this. We've had a long campaign with Julian Assange, but we must do it again. And what's the benefit of doing this? Friendship. We win. We win friends. Thanks for listening to me, folks.
Thank you very much, Brad. Right, folks, if we could just pack the signs together, we'll pick them up when we come out. Thank you all for coming, and please go in, if you can, and support David. Give him a big smile and a thumbs up. Thank you for coming, everyone. You going to come in or are you staying out?
I don't know. I might try and come in, but I've got to do something with this stuff.
It's good to see
I'll
you.
pack this down. I might get in there.
All right, if you pack it,
I'll stay together. Actually, I'll stay with all the gear, okay?
Sure.
Yeah, you go and, yeah.
if you want to go, guys,
No, it's all good. You go and do what you do. I'll sort this out. Thanks. All right, I'll go to the legal spot where I'm supposed to film from. Security's been really nice today for us. Normally we get told not to have cameras inside. Anyway, thank you all for joining us today, as always. I don't know if I'll finish the stream afterwards. Well, it depends on what the outcome is. I'll check with Craig if there is something to be said. But again, it's just administrative stuff today. We're not going to have a real outcome from anything today. Thank you all for joining us. Love to you all. Stay strong. Expose the 28. We'll see you tomorrow anyway. Thank you.